In your textbook, you'll see an example of a decision tree. And if you can give you the background, the example is an international mineral lease. It says a multinational firm, NMF, is pondering whether to accept a developing country's invitation to invest in the development of a copper mine on its soil. Management of the multinational is contemplating an agreement in which the multinational and the developing country split the profits from the mine equally. By its estimates, each side's profit is worth about 50 million in net present value. Both sides are aware that any agreement, being unenforceable, is really not binding. For instance, after the multinational has sunk a large investment in the project, developing countries' leaders could decide to break the agreement and expropriate the mine. Given the developing country's desperate economic condition, this is a real possibility. In such a case, the multinational would suffer a loss of $20 million. The value of the nationalized mine, run less efficiently by a developing country, would be 80 million. Finally, each side must look to the other to launch the mineral project. The multinational sees no other countries in which to invest, and the developing country has found no other companies capable of launching the mine. Given this description, we can use the game tree in Figure 10.1 to portray the sequence of actions by the multinational and the developing country. Such a depiction is commonly called the extensive form of the game. The first move is the multinational's, whether to invest or not. If the multinational does invest, the next move, at the time the mine becomes operational, is the developing countries, whether to honor the 50-50 agreement or to expropriate the mine. In the game tree, squares represent points of decisions, and monetary payoffs are shown at the branch tips of the tree. Here, both players' payoffs are shown, the multinationals first, then the developing countries. Political considerations aside, we presume that the monetary payoffs accurately portray the objectives of the parties. Furthermore, although it is easy to envision other actions and reactions by the parties, we have kept things simple, one move for each player. At the initial move, should the multinational invest in the mine? To answer this question, the multinational's management need only look ahead to the developing country's subsequent move and the ensuing payoffs. Once the mine is operational, the developing country can be expected to expropriate it. The developing country certainly prefers an $80 million payoff to a mere $50 million payoff from cooperation. Foreseeing this and the resulting $20 million loss, the multinational wisely decides not to invest. The parties find themselves in the horns of a dilemma. Both would gain handsomely from a cooperative agreement, but under the current circumstances, such an agreement is unenforceable and the position is particularly vexing. It can promise the multinational that it will not expropriate the mine, but the promise is not credible. Even if the developing country intended to honor the agreement out of the goodness of its heart, how could it credibly convince the multinational of its good intentions? If the desirable cooperative outcome is to be achieved, the parties must structure an agreement that alters the developing country's incentives to expropriate. The developing country will honor the agreement only if it is more profitable to do so than to expropriate. This basic point suggests a number of remedies. One solution is for the multinational to give the developing country an 81-19 split of the 100 million total gain from the mine. Although this might not seem particularly fair, it does induce the developing country's compliance. Thus, the multinational can invest confidently, counting on its 19 million return. Alternatively, the 50-50 split can be maintained with a monetary penalty exacted if the developing country breaches the agreement. For instance, as part of an agreement, the developing country would place $31 million in an account with an international agency. This money would be forfeited to the multinational if the developing country were to expropriate the mine. Clearly, the developing country prefers the 50 million from an agreement to the 80 minus 31 equals 49 million net profit from expropriation. Again, the point is to introduce you to decision trees, and I said that I could do this using payoff matrices. In this particular example, we have two companies, Chemco and Matco, and they're trying to decide whether or not to build a chemical plant. They both are making similar types of decisions, to build or not to build. The 8 numbers you see to the right-hand side are the payoffs for the two companies. The numbers in red are Chemco's payoffs. The numbers in green are Matco's payoffs. Given a 2x2 matrix, you can easily see how I can set this up as a payoff matrix. 8 numbers, 2 numbers per cell. The decisions then are to build or not to build. And here are the numbers entered in a payoff matrix. So I'm taking Matco's numbers. There are 4 of them. Matco's numbers are shown in green. So the arrows I have here show you where I'm putting the 4 numbers for Matco in the matrix. In the 2 by 2 matrix then, I'm going to put Matco on the left margin and put Matco's numbers in the left bottom corner. The decisions are to build or not to build, dependent on what your competitor is doing. So the number in the top row for Matco is 70. And if you follow the decision tree, you will see Chemco builds a plant, then Matco builds a plant. So we have Matco's 4 numbers in the top payoff matrix and Chemco's numbers in the bottom payoff matrix. Obviously, the numbers have to come together in a single payoff matrix. And here are those 8 entries. I've gone ahead and circled the decisions by each firm and read in the first column. If Chemco chooses not to build, Matco is better off building. It's a profitable opportunity, of course. And the second, the right-hand side of the matrix, if Chemco builds, Matco is better off not building. We're assuming that the profits are coming from other places. Obviously, if you didn't build, you can't make a profit at that location. So this is like the overall corporate profit, and adding another location is increasing your profit. So that's why the 100 for not building is going to 115 for Matco, and then the 80 for not building is going to 70 if you build, assuming the competitor also builds. That seems to be the easiest way to explain this. In the rows now, we have in the first row, if Matco does not build, Chemco builds and makes a profit of 125. And if Matco builds, Chemco is better off not building. I have 2 cells where both entries are circled, so I have 2 equilibria, and the decision here is that one firm should build and the other firm should not build, vice versa. In neither case should both not build or both build in terms of maximum profitability. So I have these 2 equilibria. Now the only way left to solve this problem is to use probabilities. So we're going to have these 2 probabilities summing to 1. Let's do a row analysis, which is Matco's decision. If Matco does not build, and there's a 50-50 chance that Chemco builds or does not build, then Matco's expected payoff is 90, averaging the 100 and the 80. And if it builds, based on the probability that Chemco is equally likely to build or not build, then its expected payoff is 92.5, 185 divided by 2. So the expected profit for Matco from building is higher than the expected profit for not building, so it will build. Assuming, again, the 50-50 probability that Chemco will choose to build or not build. And as fate would have it, Chemco's probabilities, given Matco's equal likelihood of choosing between building and not building, are higher from building. So both of them, as they look down the road, see that the expected payoff is higher if they made the decision to build. Therefore, we end up with a situation where both build, both expect a higher profit if they build, and if both build, they both end up with a lower profit. The good thing about a decision like this is that if you announce you're going to build and the other guy announces he's going to build, one of you might decide to back off. Once the first one has started building, you might decide it's not in my interest to build, so the first mover has the advantage. Recall when I was discussing Walmart and Target's decisions to come to the M59 Adams Road interchange area, and I said that both announced they were coming, but only one came. First article says Target to join Walmart in Hamlin Adams corridor. What could become the next major shopping hub is beginning to take shape, on paper at least, along Hamlin Road. In May, plans for a Walmart store off M59 south of Hamlin were unveiled. 3 months later, a site plan for a shopping center including a 125 square foot Target store, 2 fast casual restaurants, and other as yet unnamed retail stores was submitted by Real Estate Interest Group for 100 acres on the south side of Hamlin, east of Adams. Walmart came, and Target never came. And there are many reasons why this could have happened. We're not sure. Obviously, the location in Rochester Hills is just part of a very big plan. And you can see from the second article that Walmart plans to open or expand 484 stores across the US. So here again, you see the two locations. The one where Walmart is currently located is the Grand Sakwa development. And the one that was going to house the Target is the real estate interest development area to the far right. It is clear then that I could make this problem Walmart and Target, and we're talking about the corporate profits overall and how an additional store in Rochester Hills would affect their overall profitability. I hope that makes sense. The associated topic here would be credibility of threat. And if one is intending to build, has announced it's going to build, and the second decides that it's also going to announce that it's going to build, which is what Target did Walmart view Target's threat to come to that location as a non-credible threat? Walmart went ahead and Target did not. Again, there are many possible explanations for why this is the state of nature, but we don't know. I've always longed to know the answer, but it's probably good that I don't know, because who knows? One day before I'm done, someone might come and tell me, here's the real reason. It's amazing how you think you understand things, and then people who know the real truth can come and help you, enlighten you. So that's the topic I wanted to mention, mixed strategy equilibria, using certainly the Walmart Target analogy, and then this article that I present here.